One morning, Venice woke floating in silence. The palaces were still there, but the water no longer remembered their faces. A gondolier looked into the canal and saw nothing looking back. Even the pigeons had lost their shadows in the water. A child in a velvet mask searched for her face and found only fog. In a tiny mask shop, the city kept its secrets on the walls. One mask turned slightly, as if it could hear the missing reflection. In its empty eyes, a small piece of water began to glow. The mask maker held it like a memory too fragile to name. And from the mask, the first silver fragment rose. On a small island of fire and glass, a glassblower was still working. He blew a tiny world into molten glass. Inside the glass, Venice remembered one window. A single drop of glass held a bridge more clearly than the canal. Another fragment drifted away, light enough to float. The gondolas kept moving, even without reflections beneath them. But the oar remembered what the water had forgotten. The gondolier listened to the splash as if it were speaking. Beneath a bridge, a lantern returned for one trembling second. A thin silver line began to travel through the canal. In the square, the pigeons gathered like small grey messengers. When they rose, their wings carried pieces of the sky. Even a feather could remember the moon. The bells did not ring into water. They rang into the mist. The lost reflections began to gather above the rooftops. In an old little theatre, a dancer waited before a mirror. She bowed, but the mirror did not bow back. Then she turned, and the glass remembered movement. The mirror did not show her face. It showed the city behind it. Another piece of reflection slipped into the night. On the bridges, people began to walk more slowly. A window found itself in a puddle. An old woman opened her shutters and let the morning look in. For the first time all day, light stayed on the water. The canal began to remember the color of stone. Every silver fragment drifted toward the heart of the city. Beneath the old bridge, the water held its breath. Masks, glass, wings, oars, and mirrors all returned to the canal. The water trembled, then slowly became a mirror again. One palace came back upside down. A gondola found its shadow. The child saw her face return in silver. The mask maker smiled at a window that finally smiled back. The glassblower held Venice in one small breath of glass. Pigeons crossed the water with their shadows beneath them. The square moved again, softer than before. Windows, lanterns, and the moon found their places below. Venice became a music box made of water and light. And in the canal, the city saw itself as a dream. Venice had not lost its reflection. People had simply forgotten how to look gently.